Thanks for joining us on the Baseball Happenings podcast. Our guest this episode is Eric Doty, CEO and founder of the Loupe app, a new app aimed at bringing together sports card breakers and collectors all on the same platform. We'd love it if you'd rated and subscribed to our podcast on whatever platform you're using to listen to the show, and you could follow us on social media. We're at Examine Baseball on all platforms. We have with us today Eric Doty from Loupe, the app, and he's here to talk to us about their new app and their new platform that combines sports card breaking and, pack sales and puts them all, together in the same place. Eric, first and foremost, tell us how you got started on this concept of almost like a one-stop shop for breaking.
Yeah, so I was head of product on a live streaming platform and also GM on a game server. So really, I was just starting to get back in the cards. I mean, I collected cards when I was a kid and started to get back into it and realized like how big cards are today, and it's continuing to grow, similar to the way we saw streetwear was 4 to 5 years ago. And as I was buying cards and looking up online, I noticed that there were a lot of people who were streaming and selling cards on Instagram, but it was this really fragmented experience where you had to tell them what you wanted, get the price, go to PayPal, pay them, go back go back to the stream and tell them that you paid and who you are and that your address was included with it. And, with my background in video games and live video and just kind of streamlining the user experience, I could make this 100 times easier. So we really just started kind of building out the ideal flow of how simple can we make this and build all the features into one experience. And that's ultimately what we did. We had a beta in summer and we launched in October, and I think the results speak for themselves. We have a great growing community right now, all engaged around sports cards.
Yes, and breaking has become so large. A lot of people just do it to spectate, but other people, get in on the consumer side because then they don't have to deal with the hassle of opening up a box or a case, and they can narrow things down. How do you think that's impacted the industry?
I think the biggest impact for both the industry and the personal collector side, is the fact that it is so difficult to get product today. I don't know if anybody, if you've personally tried buying cards at Target, but they're cleaned out immediately. Like the moment the distributor shows up with a box, 9 out of 10 times they're gone immediately. There's a line of people waiting for them who know the schedule. Like that's how bad it is. So there's that. We bring a sense of availability of product because most of the people that sell on our platform have a distributor or their brick and mortar shop who already has inventory. And on the hobby market side, I think what we're doing is really important because we have the inventory available, but also we're just very approachable. Like you don't have to walk into a shop and ask a lot of questions and be put on the spot in an uncomfortable space. We kind of pull back a little bit from that. So you're sitting in a stream just like you would be watching a game stream on Switch, and you go, "Hey, I'm new here. What do you have available?" Or "What's that?" And all of our breakers are very, very welcoming and just like, "Yeah, I'm happy to." I mean, ultimately they want to make the sale, so they're going to be very welcoming and explain what you're buying and like what you're going to get with your purchase. And I think it actually makes it, when you're coming back to the hobby or you're new to the hobby, it's actually a very, very approachable way to learn and, start your collection. And I think, again, to the hobby, that's really valuable because there aren't a lot of places to get that education in an easy, approachable way.
Right. And I think, the less friction for the consumer and the seller, better. This also sounds like an opportunity for a lot of card stores, to really open themselves up outside of their local area, because like you said, a lot were like streaming live on Instagram, but now if they can go to one place, especially with traffic possibly down, due to, pandemic kind of restrictions, I feel like this is an opportunity for, card shops all to kind of get in the same place as well.
Yeah, and we have one card shop that's working with us out of Virginia, and it's a father-son operation. And when they started using us, I think it was like their second stream on Loupe, they realized that they were selling more on Loupe than they were in a week trying to stream or sell through Instagram. Because again, you're talking about the pandemic and foot traffic being down. They were looking for alternative online ways to sell. And yeah, it was very validating to hear within their first couple streams that they were like over delivering on what they were doing prior to using our service.
Sure, and that's wonderful, especially for these small businesses. Can you speak about like what the free structure is? Because I'm sure that's something that people who are interested in the app would want to know, either from the buyer side or the seller side.
Yeah, so we generally don't say the exact fee, but okay. I'm comfortable saying that we charge much less than eBay or something like StockX. Our fees are very low, enough to cover basically the bandwidth that you're using and any of the infrastructure we've built that handles all of the streams. So we're very reasonable, and we actually think that's one of the many reasons that our awesome breakers are using us, because we're not out there to gouge them or take a big cut of their business, especially considering like how much their business has been impacted by the pandemic. So we want to be fair and make sure they just get the right tools to build their business.
Right, understandably so. I was looking at the app earlier today, so it's available on iOS. It says Android is coming. Do you have a timeline for, when the Android version will be ready?
Yeah, we're targeting end of March and at worst early April. And that's really just a sense of we were a bootstrapped, self-funded startup up until about October. And, building an iOS app was a big bet for us. And once we put it out there, we realized just how successful and how much this sort of app was needed by the community. And now, obviously, we're kicking ourselves going, hey, we should have made that Android app. But, for everyone out there with an Android phone who's looking forward to using Loupe, we hope to get it in your hands late March.
Now, in the breaking community, there's, I don't want to say being controversy, and it has nothing to do with your app, but some breakers haven't always conducted themselves in the most honest ways, right? There's been incidences where people hide cards or, don't maybe show hits. What mechanisms do you have in place to try to, mitigate fraud, for lack of a better word?
Yep. So we vet every seller. If you download the app, you can't just go live. It's not free for all. You have to be reviewed by us, and we look at all of your previous streams. We look at your business, if you have any reviews or, chat that we can look at to get a sense of, do you have a community that trusts you? Do you have good looking content? Do you have product that's available? Because at the end of the day, if you're streaming through Loupe, you're potentially the very first stream that someone could see when using our app. And we need to make sure that you meet our standards. Obviously, because we control the access, unlike the other platforms, if somebody, hopefully this never happens, but in the chance somebody comes in, runs a scam or has issues that they get a lot of complaints, we can shut that access off immediately and go, you're not conducting yourself in an honest way that reflects well on our app, and we need to we're protecting you from scammers, but we're also protecting the buyers from, breakers who might do something inappropriate.
Right, because I think that's like a huge thing in the industry, right? There's a lot of wonderful people who are honest and are really trying to do the right thing, but always when there's opportunity, right, these types tend to, creep in. And, I figured that's something that, like, you guys probably have to, deal with this. How do we keep that off our platform so we can maintain our reputation as the app, but also for the, buyers and sellers who make up the community?
Yeah, and we also have general guidelines of when you break, these are things you should be aware of, like cards always on camera. When you ship the product, we actually have a feature in the app that allows you to track all of your orders, that they've been shipped and where they are in delivery. So you don't even have to go back to your email. All of that is self-contained in the app.
Right, because I feel like people want customer service alongside with this. It's like, I was reading up and you guys have the platform and it sounds like a great space for everything being in the same place. But at the same token, within the sports car community, right, I think customer service is, a huge issue with either people backing out on sales or returns or things like that. And is that something that, you guys plan for? Like, hey, you said early on, right, you're really good on the development side. But now also, is that something that your team had to plan for? Like, hey, this is also something that collectors are really interested in, is delivering on, the customer service end as well.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's why we sign the breakers that we do, and we are what we look for specifically in others, that there is a nice back and forth, that there is a sense of community, and accountability is actually probably the most important word there. And you said something about, and I've personally seen this on Facebook, where somebody will say, I'll take that, and then they don't pay.
Right.
Where we have the system built in place that when you want it, you have to pay on the spot, and that product does not get opened or shipped to you until that payment is made. And if you don't do it, somebody can come along and just take it because they'll be the one to pay for it. So again, we kind of protect both sides from the other, where if there is a bad actor coming in and going, I want to buy this, just open it, I'm good for it. Like, no, you have to pay first because we want to make sure that our breakers are not getting left hanging with product that's now open and, potentially not as worth as much as it was, kind of a used car,
Yes.
used car situation. Like you want to buy sealed products.
Right, and that's definitely big. I'm reading here that you guys secured $3 million in funding, with Nat Turner, having contributed to, to help accelerate things. What else do you have in mind that you'd like to do, as you go along, to expand either the services or the interactive nature of what the, app has?
So a lot of our features in the coming months focus heavily on education and anticipation of cards. So like, what should you be buying? When are streams occurring? How do I get notified? If I get a really big hit in a stream, what do I then do with that card? Because a lot of people just don't know, or they're uncomfortable moving forward without having someone help them. So we can help them understand, okay, you just pulled a $6,000 card. These are the options available to you. Do you want to sell it as is? Do you want to get it graded? Do we offer them a way to streamline that grading process? And then what do they do with it? As well as ways to manage your collection and share your collection with other people. So we're looking at the end to end. How do you engage and have fun with this hobby in your collection? And I think there's a way that we can make it even better every step of the way.
Wow. So, I just thought about that. Like if someone, gets a hit during a break, that card may not have to like even go into their hands if they want to turn it around.
Yeah. I don't want to give away too much.
Right.
We're working on a lot of stuff. And obviously, I mean, a lot of us come from backgrounds in video games as well. So we're all about minimizing friction and making things fun and exciting. Surprise and delight is the big thing a lot of companies talk about. And, how do we bring that to every step of your interaction in the hobby, whether it's with other people or with your collection? Right.
And, I think this has an ability to appeal for a wide range of collectors, right? Like you can get, the whole gamut, from young kids who are starting to get into, like you said, people coming back to the hobby, or people who've been, in the hobby for a long time, because it sounds like there's multiple entry points, within the app, that way. How can people, find the app, whether it's, to search for it on the, in the App Store, or what can they do to connect with you via social media?
Yeah, so our website and all of our social accounts are Loupe the app, LOUPE the app.com. Loupe the app on Twitter, Instagram, or if you just search Loupe on iOS App Store, it'll be like the top result. And it's, we're really excited. We just had the big announcement about the fundraising, and we're doing all kinds of promotions right now and signing new breakers pretty much every day now. So we're growing very quickly, and we're just really excited that people seem to like the service. It's always stressful when you first launch. Again, we launched in October, so it's been great, really, these last 3 months of just like being able to enjoy the hobby with other people.
Mm-hmm. Yes, no, totally. And I think it's an exciting development, as you said, where, now this starts to unify things, and, the level of interactivity and trust and reliability, I think, are things that are needed in the hobby. And it's going to be, fun to watch this as you roll this out, along, both the iOS and the Android platforms. And, as it grows, right, what it brings to the hobby and collecting space. So, Eric, I want to thank you for your time, today in taking the call. And this is going to be an interesting ride as we go into 2021, with the app and how the collecting community is going to continue to develop.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I'm happy to answer any other questions you have from you or the community at large.